Hi! So in this video, I'm going to go over a few changes that happened this week on Blocks. Blocks is our component design system that we use internally at Code and Wonder. And like any design system, it is never done. So every week, we'll try and push new changes and new updates. And in these videos, I'm just going to review what has changed and the reason behind it. So let's go in for this week. The first thing that changed is we added another variant to the spacer. So here you can see we have the normal spacer with all of the different sizes to manage the one you want. And we've added an expand option in here. And what this does, it basically expands to the maximum value that it can have. So that, for example, in this instance, the buttons are aligned at the bottom and the heading and rich text stay at the top. Now, you could say that you could achieve a similar result if you select the content and you can, go to the alignment and you can stretch between. So everything gets spread out. However, this is not the result that we want. We don't necessarily want the heading and rich text to be spread out the same way as the spacer and the buttons here, but we just want to increase the space. So that's what the solution is for the spacer. We added this expand, so it fills up the space which is available. So that also means that it creates a few differences in terms of how this spacer is used versus the spacer that was initially in the section. So what we did is separate them out. So now the section has its own spacer component, and it's limited to only the bigger sizes in here, because you probably don't want the smaller sizes as part of your section. And it still has the none in case you don't want a spacing in your section. And what we did is for the spacer, we removed the none because it's a spacer, so you could just remove it. And we added the expand, and it still has all of the smaller sizes as well. So yeah, separating the two and adding a few more functionality and defining a bit more of a purpose between the spacer used generally and the spacer used inside of the section. What else? We added a few other variants for paragraphs. So if we go lower down, we can see now a paragraph can be styled exactly like a heading. Why, you might ask? Just so that not every heading has to be a heading. So you can add it as a paragraph, and then here the styles we added from the H6 to the H1, so you can style a paragraph as the heading and still have the heading as a smaller option in here. So for example, as the eyebrow. Next up, we fixed a few things for the row component. A few of the this is a grid. Let me find a row. Like in here. So what we did is adjusted some alignment. So the top left and the top right actually previously used stretch. So it wasn't a correct definition of what that was. Now it is correct. So it aligns everything to the top left. And what we did is we also added the stretch ones down here so that you can stretch the content inside of it. And finally, we, as you can see, we're kind of redeveloping the homepage to have a bit more of an explanation. It's still work in progress. So that's still half done, let's say. But these are the things that have changed in version 1.0.3, and you can find them now in the clonable. So see you next week. Bye-bye.